Chickamauga Station. When we arrived at Chickamauga Station, our brigade and General Lucius E. Polk's brigade of Cleburne's division were left to set fire to the town and to burn up and destroy all those immense piles of army stores and provisions which had been accumulated there to starve the Yankees out of Chattanooga. Great piles of corn and sacks and bacon and crackers and molasses and sugar and coffee and rice and potatoes and onions and peas and flour by the hundreds of barrels, all now to be given to the flames, while for months the rebel soldiers had been stinted and starved for the want of these same provisions. It was enough to make the bravest and most patriotic soul that ever fired a gun in defense of any cause on earth think of rebelling against the authorities as they then were. Every private soldier knew these stores were there, and for the want of them we lost our cause. Reader, I ask you who you think was to blame? Most of our army had already passed through, hungry and disheartened, and here were all these stores that had to be destroyed. Before setting fire to the town, every soldier in Maney's and Polk's brigades loaded himself down with rations. It was a laughable-looking rear guard of a routed and retreating army. Every one of us had cut open the end of a corn sack, emptied out the corn, and filled it with hardtack. And besides, every one of us had a side of bacon hung to our bayonets on our guns. Our canteens and clothes and faces and hair were all gummed up with molasses. Such is the picture of our rear guard. Now, reader, if you were ever on the rear guard of a routed and retreating army, you know how tedious it is. You don't move more than 10 feet at furthest before you have to halt, and then 10 feet again a few minutes afterward, and so on all day long. You haven't time to sit down a moment before you are ordered to move on again, and the Yankees dash up every now and then and fire a volley into your rear. Now that is the way we were marched that livelong day until nearly dark, and then the Yankees began to crowd us. We can see their line forming and know we have to fight. The Battle of Cat Creek. About dark, a small body of cavalry dashed in ahead of us and captured and carried off one piece of artillery and Colonel John F. House, General Monty's assistant, Adjutant General. We will have to form line of battle and drive them back. Well, we quickly form line of battle, and the Yankees are seen to emerge from the woods about 200 yards from us. We promptly shell off those sides of bacon and sacks of hardtack that we had worried and tugged with all day long. Bang, bang, sizz, sizz. We are ordered to load and fire promptly and to hold our position. Yonder they come, a whole division. Our regiment is the only regiment in the action. They are crowding us. Our poor little handful of men are being killed and wounded by scores. There is General George Maney, badly wounded and being carried to the rear, and there is Moon of Fulcher's battalion, killed dead in his tracks. We can't much longer hold our position. A Minnie ball passes through my Bible in my side pocket. All at once, we are ordered to open ranks. Here comes one piece of artillery from a Mississippi battery, bouncing 10 feet high over brush and logs and bending down little trees and saplings. Under whip and spur, the horses are champing the bits and are muddied from head to foot. Now quick, quick! Look, the Yankees have discovered the battery and are preparing to charge it. Unlimber horse and caisson to the rear. Number 1, shrapnel, load, fire, boom, boom, load, a bloodiest, boom, boom. I saw Sam C. fall, badly wounded and carried to the rear. I stopped firing to look at Sergeant Doyle, how he handled his gun. At every discharge it would bounce and turn its muzzle completely to the rear when those old artillery soldiers would return it to its place, and it seemed they fired a shot almost every 10 seconds. firemen. Our muskets roll and rattle, making music like the kettle and bass drum combined. They are checked. We see them fall back to the woods, and night throws her mantle over the scene. We fell back now, and had to strip and wade Chickamauga River. It was up to our armpits, and was as cold as charity. We had to carry our clothes across on the points of our bayonets. Fires had been kindled every few yards on the other side, and we soon got warmed up again. Ringgold Gap. I had got as far as Ringgold Gap when I had unconsciously fallen asleep by a fire, it being the fourth night that I had not slept a wink. Before I got to this fire, however, a gentleman whom I never saw in my life, because it was totally dark at the time, handed me a letter from the old folks at home, and a good suit of clothes. He belonged to Colonel Breckinridge's cavalry, and if he ever sees these lines, I wish to say to him, God bless you, old boy. I had lost every blanket and vestige of clothing, except those I had on at Missionary Ridge. I laid down by the fire and went to sleep. But how long I had slept I knew not, when I felt a rough hand grab me and give me a shake, and the fellow said, Are you going to sleep here and let the Yankees cut your throat? I opened my eyes and asked, Who are you? He politely and pleasantly, yet profanely, told me that he was General Walker. The poor fellow was killed the 22nd of July at Atlanta, and that I had better get further. He passed on and waked others. Just then General Cleburne and staff rode by me, and I heard one of his staff remark, General, here is a ditch or gully that will make a natural breastwork. All I heard General Cleburne say was, I saw General Lucius E. Polk's brigade form on the crest of the hill. I went a little further and laid down again and went to sleep. How long I had lain there and what was passing over me I know nothing about. But when I awoke, here is what I saw. I saw a long line of blue coats marching down the railroad track. The first thought I had was, well, I'm gone up now, sure. But on second sight, I discovered that they were prisoners. Cleburne had had the doggedest fight of the war. The ground was piled with dead Yankees. They were piled in heaps. The scene looked unlike any battlefield I ever saw. From the foot to the top of the hill was covered with their slain, all lying on their faces. It had the appearance of the roof of a house, shingled with dead Yankees. They were flushed with victory and success, and had determined to push forward and capture the whole of the rebel army, and set up their triumphant standard at Atlanta, then exit Southern Confederacy. But their dead were so piled in their path at Ringgold Gap that they could not pass them. The Spartans gained a name at Thermopylae, in which Leonidas and the whole Spartan army were slain while defending the pass. Cleburne's division gained a name at Ringgold Gap, in which they not only slew the victorious army, but captured 5,000 prisoners besides. That brilliant victory of Cleburne's made him not only the best general of the Army of Tennessee, and covered his men with glory and honor of heroes, but checked the advance of Grant's whole army. We did not budge an inch further for many a long day, but we went into winter quarters right here at Ringgold Gap, Tunnel Hill, and Dalton. That concludes the 15th part of the story. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe for more episodes and leave a comment.